All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're looking at 8.5 properties of trapezoids and kites. Trapezoids and kites are also quadrilateral, so 4 sides. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. So let's draw a picture of it. Trapezoid, one pair of parallel sides. Okay? The parallel sides are the bases. A trapezoid has 2 pairs of base angles. So we've got the bottom base angles, and we've got the top base angles. They're not congruent to each other. The green is not congruent to the red, but the green are congruent to the green and the red are congruent to the red. Does that make sense? Okay. The mid-segment of a trapezoid is the segment that connects the midpoints of its legs. So if I were to draw a midpoint, it would be, this is the middle of this leg, this is the middle of this leg, they're connected. That's what we call a midpoint. Mid-segment. A kite is a quadrilateral that has 2 pairs of consecutive congruent sides, but the opposite sides are not congruent. So if we have a kite, these 2 sides are congruent to each other, and this side is congruent to that side. If the legs of a trapezoid are congruent, the trapezoid is called an isosceles triangle. Okay, so if we have that the legs are congruent to each other, we know it's an isosceles trapezoid. Okay, then we got some more theorems. If a trapezoid is an isosceles, then each pair of base angles are congruent. If the trapezoid has a pair of congruent base angles, then it's an isosceles triangle. A trapezoid is isosceles if and only if the diagonals are congruent. The midsegment of a trapezoid is parallel to each base, and its length is 1/2 the sum. So that means if we've got a trapezoid, I'm going to label this. This is going to be B1, B2, and this is going to be M for its midsegment. The midsegment equals base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. If a quadrilateral is a kite, then its diagonals are perpendicular. That means its diagonals must meet at a 90-degree angle. So what happens in this triangle? What are each of these? What kind of triangles? Right triangles. Okay, if a quadrilateral is a kite, then exactly 1 pair of opposite angles are congruent. So these angles right here are congruent, the other 2 are not. Yes, but the interior angles of it all add up to 360. I know a kite, you think of a kite that you fly, but original kites, you know, like when you think of a traditional kite in your head, you might think of this shape, and that's what we thought. That's where that came from. Okay? Now, if you're looking up here, see how the red angles and the green angles are congruent? That's how we know it's an isosceles trapezoid. But a trapezoid, the base angles do not have to be congruent. But if they are, we know that the legs are congruent. Therefore, it's a isosceles. So it's special. Okay, so now we're going to do some stuff with these. So we've got trapezoids, isosceles trapezoids, and kites is the new thing that we have. All right, we are going to go look at and prove that ORST is a trapezoid. What do we know? To prove that it's a trapezoid, we know 1 pair of sides has to be what? Parallel. So we're just going to use slope. So I'm going to look right here. I'm going to say I go up 1 over 2. So RS has a slope of 1/2. What side do you think would be parallel to RS? TO. So I go over 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2. So OT is over 4, up 2. Remember, it's rise over run, and that reduces to 1/2. So I know right here that RS is parallel to OT. But I know that all parallelograms have 2 sets of parallel sides. So could this be a parallelogram? I've only proven that one side is parallel. So I've got to prove the other 2 sides are not parallel to each other. So I'm going to look at R to O. I go down 3 over 0. What happens when we have a 0 on the bottom? It's not 0, it's undefined. You guys remember that? Kind of, sort of. Okay, how about ST? From S, I'm going to go down 1, 2, over 2. 2 over 2 reduces to 1. Are RO and ST parallel to each other? No, so we're good. We got a trapezoid. Okay, now we're going to talk. Yes. Somebody have a question? It is because they're not. You tell me, are the slopes the same, Chris? So then they can't be what? There you go. So you can prove that something's parallel if it has one set of parallel sides. You can prove it's a trapezoid. I think I said parallel. All right. Using the midsegment of a trapezoid. Remember, midsegment is base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 gives you the midsegment. All right, what's base 1? Doesn't matter which one you leave away. So I've got 12 plus 28 over 2. What does that equal? 20. 20 inches is the length of MN. I'm going to show you one more thing because you've got something like this in your homework. What if I have a trapezoid where I have, this is 5, this is 10, I don't know what this is. How would I figure out the base? What are my bases? 5 and what? X over 2 equals 10. 2 times 10 is 20. X equals 15. That's raining all crazy. That's supposed to be an equals, not a Z or a Z. I don't know why it's doing it. Any questions about this? You guys think you could solve those pretty easily? Okay. Last one, let's look at a kite. All right, how would I figure out what angle D is? The interior angles of any quadrilateral are going to add up to what? 360. Okay, let's see what I have so far. I've got 124. I've got 124 plus 80 plus, what do we know about a kite? What two of the angles have to be congruent to each other? Is E congruent to G? No, so D and F have to be congruent to each other. Let's make them both X. So X and X makes 2X. X times X is X squared. All right, so I'm going to go 124 plus 80. 8, 9, 10. 204 plus 2x equals 360. Subtract 204. We stop, ladies. So I get 2x equals, make this 5. 10 minus 4 is 8. 5, 158. Divide both sides by 150. Oh, 56. 10 minus 4 is not 8. Thank you. Divide by 2, and what do we get? X equals 78. Okay, I'm going to put one more thing up here that I want you to copy down because it's going to be very like your homework. If I have a kite, and I have the diagonals, and I know the length of the diagonals. For example, this is 3, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 9. Could I find these outside parts? How would you do that? Pythagorean theorem. We know all of these are 90 degrees because it says so. So we go 3 squared plus 9 squared equals this unknown squared. And for up here we go 4 squared plus 3 squared equals this unknown squared. All right, you should be fine in your homework then. All right, please get out a piece of paper. We're going to do writing.